So in this lecture, we talk about the retailer information systems. So this lecture is a part 2 of next Monday's lecture. So before the lecture, you could just browse the textbook chapter 10, and then the content also based on 2 presentations from the software company SAP. So these 2 presentations are also uploaded to the Blackboard. Here is the agenda. So first we talk about the information flows in retailer supply chains. Then we look into material flows or merchandise flows in retailer supply chains. The framework of the retailer information system. Then we talk about how to transform the retailer merchandise in management into digital process, automated process. Then in the end, we talk about how technology will change the retailer industry. This is a learning objective, so be able to describe how information systems in a supply chain flows in a supply chain, be able to describe the flow of merchandise through a supply chain, understand the complexity of the retailer information system, use the information system to manage merchandise effectively, identify the opportunities to improve business performance by technology. A supply chain normally consists of the following players. So first, the suppliers. So the suppliers can be a first layer, a manufacturer or first layer supplier, or even higher layer upstream suppliers. And then there are wholesalers or distribution centers and fulfillment centers. We have talked about the logistics network design previously. So hopefully you can also fit the distribution centers and fulfillment centers into the supply chain. So the wholesalers may be sometimes similar with the distributors, or sometimes even not existed. So in this picture, you can see this is a simple network to show the supply chains. You have the multiple retailer stores, and they have multiple suppliers. The products are transported directly to the stores, or some of the products actually go through the distribution centers. For example, the window 2 here deliver all the goods directly to the stores, and the window 1, the window 3 actually needs to transport the items to the distribution center, then distributed to the individual stores. Through supply chain management and information systems, the retailers can actually create strategic advantages. So for example, in the textbook, in the chapter 10, you can see the example of Walmart. So there are actually a series of advantages described there. So for example, accurate forecasts and replenish merchandise from DCs with the right quantities, and a series of activities. So various activities. So good or accurate performance lead to advantages. And then so the retailers will realize a higher than average return on the assets, and then difficult for the retailers to duplicate. So in order to realize the advantages, then we need to actually talking about several things. For example, improve product availability, so fewer stock outs. So it's basically higher customer service. And of course, efficient management, reduce the stocks, also reduce the rain check. Rain check is coupons to actually compensate to the consumers if there is stock outs but it's not necessary. The rain check can actually retain the customers. And then there are also the targeted tailored assortments also lead to improved product availability. So here we're talking about seasonal items, the right items in the right stores, and it depends on the consumer characteristics. And then it is of course also contribute to the high return on the assets. So efficient supply chain and information systems improve return of assets because it increases sales and net profit margins without increasing inventory. So here, be careful, we're talking about increase the profit margins and customer service without increase inventory levels. So net profit margin improved by increasing gross margin and lowering expenses. So lowering expenses achieved by lower stockouts, lower average inventory levels, and then effective forecasting reduces overstock. So that's actually reduce the leftover inventory or redundant order stock or dead stock. Therefore, we need to understand the supply chain management and corresponding information systems. So first, let's see the information flow in the retailer supply chain. So there, the supply chain starts from customer, then to the store, to the distribution center, to the manufacturing, and then the buyer buy the products from manufacturers, and then satisfy the demand from the customers and send the items to each store. Now you can see there are different types of information flows. The information flow from customer to store is actually bi-directional information flow. From store to distribution center, that's also bi-directional. From store to buyer, that's a second type. It's also bi-directional information. And then from buyer to manufacturer, buyer asks for quote, and the manufacturer responds to the availability of the items and the price and the quote. And also we have the information flow between manufacturing and the stores directly if the manufacturer delivers items directly to the stores. And the manufacturing to the distribution center also have the communications. So we can see this information flow is actually quite complicated. So normally information system is used to support communications of multiple suppliers. Here we have a brief explanations for each type of flow. So we can see the flow 1, scan, for example, scan universal product code at the point of sales terminals. Flow 2, post terminal records records purchase and sends to buyer at the corporate office. And from buyer to manufacturing, purchase information aggregated and sent to the manufacturer. And the store to manufacturer, sales transaction data sent to manufacturer who decides when to ship more merchandise. So it's normally used when it's a vendor managed inventory. From store to distribution center, it's communicate on when inventory drops at the store, more products is shipped. And then, of course, it depends on the inventory policy at the store level. And the advance shipping notice, manufacturing to the distribution center and the buyer. So through the supply chain, there are a rich amount of data available. So we can see there are different types of data warehouses. For example, database of purchase data collected at post data. That's post data or historical data or the original sales data. And then electronic data interchange. So computer-to-computer exchange of business documents from retailer to vendor and back allows the channel members to communicate quickly and with fewer errors. So it depends on its electronic data interchange tool. In our supply chain coordination lecture, we actually mentioned vendor management inventory method and the CPFR, collaborative planning, forecasting, and the replenishment approach. So here we actually re-emphasize these two important tools to actually help achieve the supply chain collaboration. So vendor management inventory is a method of manufacturing is responsible for maintaining retailer inventory in each store. Ideally, this reduces stock outs with minimum inventory. So if the policy is supported, and then reduce vendor and retailer costs, that's targets. Lack of two-way communication. Unfortunately, this the vendor actually directly use the post data information to manage the inventory. So here there's no two-way communications. And a collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment relies on shared focus and related business information, and a collaborative planning between retailers and vendors to improve supply chain efficiency and product replenishment. So this also depends on the support of information system. Of course, in the supply chain, there are also flow of merchandise. So now you can see from the distribution center to manufacturer. So of course, manufacturing delivers or transport the products to the distribution center. Distribution center sends the items to stores, or manufacturing can also directly send the items to stores, for example, using VMI policy or method. And the stores use the items to satisfy customer demand. So now you can see the material flow is relatively simple and single direction. So the distribution center and versus direct store delivery are the two material flows we can observe in the previous exhibits. So first, the direct store delivery is the manufacturing of the supplier directly send the item to the stores. So in this type of logistics network or material flow, the manufacturing and the retailers actually collaborate, and the final or ultimate decision is usually up to the retailer, depends on the characteristics of the merchandise and nature of the demand. So here, this is the decision-making target to consider the retailer's total cost. And the advantage of distribution centers is the products can also be delivered through a distribution center. So first, this actually have a different advantages. For example, the risk pooling we have talked about. If you have multiple retailers, then this will definitely realize the benefits of risk pooling by using one distribution center, and also bring the stock close to the stores. And also they will have more accurate sales forecasts, and the retailer can carry less merchandise in store, easier to avoid stock outs, and the space less expensive at distribution center. So that's because the distribution center warehouse can be actually somehow remoted and then centrally managed, so it's more cost efficient compared with stored large quantity in the individual stores. So furthermore, we can see the direct store delivery normally used to actually deliver or manage the perishable items. So here you can see for perishable goods, so the direct store delivery will actually reduce the lead time and make sure the foods actually delivered to the customer with the highest freshness. So another example, the two examples are the fruits and the bakery products in these slides. So in the distribution center, it manages the inbound transportation. So there are different roles, different persons need to actually control different responsibilities. For example, the buyer responsible for purchase and profitability of the merchandise, and the planners responsible for the financial planning and analysis of the merchandise, and then allocate to the stores. So mainly allocate the purchased merchandise to the store. Dispatcher actually investigates the delivery to the distribution center, and then if the goods are delayed, so it's the dispatcher needed to actually reassign the delivery to the distribution center on another day, the later time. Of course, there are costs involved, and then receiving and checking using UPC or RFID. So there's different technologies. So this distribution center receives the merchandise and check the quality of the merchandise, and uses the radio frequency identification tags to actually check the orders or the merchandise through the system. So UPC is a Universal Product Code. Universal. So the distribution center or fulfillment center also performs storing and cross-docking function. Cross-docking distribution center pre-packs merchandise by vendor for a specific store. So in the cross-docking distribution center or fulfillment center, they just merge the different orders from different suppliers and deliver or transport to the specific store. So in the textbook, you have the picture example to show how the warehouse actually reorganize the orders for each store. So distribution center also getting the merchandise flow ready. So and then also ticketing and marketing the merchandise and putting price and identification labels on merchandise. So sometimes it's also called a light production or light assembly. And then preparing to ship merchandise to a store. So pick ticket. So basically, if you're cross-docking, you actually combine multiple types of items to one store and deliver as a batch. And the shipping merchandise to the stores requires sophisticated routing and scheduling computer systems. So it's actually a very complicated quantitative method, but in practice, most likely this is supported by the service provider or third-party logistics provider offered supports. Of course, the retailers may also have their own fleets. This need their own computer system to support as well. In order to manage the material flow in the supply chain, so there are different methodologies. So for example, we can use inventory management through just-in-time inventory systems. So just-in-time inventory systems or quick response inventory systems. So this actually developed by Toyota. We actually mentioned this in the Lean lecture. So the target is to reduce the lead time and then we may lead to increase of product availability and lower inventory investments, and then cost of a just-in-time system, smaller orders most expensive to ship. So therefore, there's a trade-off between the service levels or service objectives and the total cost. So reduce the inventory, it will reduce leftover inventory cost, and reduce lead time also reduce the cost, or increase the stock turnover rate. But the just-in-time management system may cost extra. So it should be actually make a balance. So after we have talked about the information flow and the material flow, and now we talk about how to use an information system to actually control the smooth information flow and material flow. So retailer information system is commonly used in retailer companies. So anticipates the information needs of retailer managers. So that's one usage, and then collects, organizes, and stores relevant data on a continuous basis. That's also one of the function of a retailer information system, and directs the flow of information to the proper decision makers. Or we can see the decision makers can extract the usable information from the information system. Analytical functions to aid decision making. Hopefully, this will also be discovered or explored profoundly. So here is a conceptual framework of a retailer information system. It's called the H model, retailer H model. So now you can see on this framework, there are different types of data involved and should be collected, organized, and utilized. And then on the bottom of this model, you can see there are different functions need to be involved: human resources, and cost accounting, and general accounting and asset management. And then in the middle, there is a big warehouse or distribution related system. And then on the top, you have a strategic controlling, and then enterprise information system and strategic planning. And in the middle of this H model, basically handles material flows and information flows in this retailer operations. So on the right-hand side, you can see this H model also includes 3 dimensions. So you can look into the functions in this operation, and the data and the processes. So we can see you have a contracting data or order management process, and goods received information, invoice auditing, accounts payable, marketing information, selling information, goods issued data, billing data, accounts receivable. So all these are both functions, data, and processes. We need to integrate all this together to support the daily operations. We can also use another information system architecture to actually illustrate the retailer information systems from inside to outside. We can see start with a master data. So actually, you need to have all kinds of data, and like a data infrastructure, databases, different types of these databases. And then you can see you have the post system, post data integrated, and then you have peripheral devices so to support, and then you also have the application access technologies. So you need to have a data and technology and devices to support the system. And then the function is the next circle. You can see we have ordering goods, managing goods, serving customers, hand out goods, and billing goods, transportation goods, accounts receivable, accounts payable, auditing goods, invoice. So that's more or less operational level support. There's also the most value-adding activities or functions. Information system will just integrate entire all the process together to actually realize a real retailing service. So most retailer information systems in the current stage actually already focus on the plan the market better, supply and distribution better, sell and service better, and operate better. But you can see the current system is personalization centered. So it mainly depends on the users of the information system actually to improve the entire system. So in the future, we're interested in talking about more innovations. For example, to highlight the role of the customers in the system. So in the end, will become really demand driven. Or we say to realize a pulled system, at the same time achieve the same performance excellence. So if you would like to know more about the roadmap, you can actually look into the presentation from SAP, so the solution, the roadmap for future retailer. So in the two references or the two presentations, you actually can see to get a good overview about information systems or distribution information systems or retailer information systems, but it's only from one single software company's description. But the focus point will be the business process for stock and waste management or merchandise management process. So the future of the retailer supply chain will be retailer without boundaries. Now you can see here. So talking about the current status is a business process is separated. So you analyze the demand and incorporate and plan and manage supply network and execute inventory plan and fulfill the demand. So that's current supply chain and distribution process. And then individual processes as illustrated in the middle block. Now the future, we're interested in to have a unified forecast, so unified demand planning and inventory analytics, and then furthermore collaborate and plan support inventory optimization and replenishment and allocating planning and vendor management. And then we have a supply network design optimization and a supply chain execution hub with real-time collaboration, demand and fulfillment analytics, distributed order fulfillment. So in the future, if you work on the retailing operations, quite likely you will get involved to some of the stages through this retailing supply and distribution process. But in the future, clearly you can see there will be more analytics, more collaborations, and more data or demand driven. So from this picture, you can see forecasting and replenishment process in an information system. So the decision starts from demand forecasting and then do a replenishment calculation and then optimize inventory policies and then place orders and then do a business analytics. So in the replenishment calculation, you can see based on the demand forecast and plan, store and the distribution center replenishment should be planned, multi-level capabilities to synchronize stores and distribution centers, and then you should have advanced safety stock concepts, consideration of multiple supplier restrictions, inventory balance methods, and then you need to have order consolidation or splitting system or models, and then flexible order review and release management, and you need to consider order transfer to the information system or other ERP system, and then collaboration should be considered, and the business analytics need to actually keep records about the forecasting quality, inventory evolution, out of stock, and the lost sales. This is more or less a performance management. So hopefully from this structure you can also see what is a stock management actually appears in the reality as well. So here there are some information about how the information system actually can help the retailers to actually construct or win their competitive advantage. So you can see this article through the link. So information system also provides data for business analytics. So information system consolidate data from disparate systems and business analytic tools, including business intelligence platform, crystal reports, and business object analysis and business objects explorer. So that's actually will definitely you may experience the data collection when you write your master thesis. So most of the time you need to extract the data from SAP system or information system. So digitalization will be the trend of the supply chain. So in the future, so now you can see information system basically is the foundation of a digital supply chain. So now you can see the good information system will actually help to create an automated, connected, hands-free supply chain. So traditional scenario, you can see from the goods from manufacturing to the customer through different players in the supply chain, and there are all kinds of issues. So for example, there are delays in the transportation, and then here you can see no inventory visibility on the road, and the often manual and error goods received in the paper and scan based list, and then there are other issues, and also customer faces empty shelves, basically stock outs or low utilization of shelf space. So the new world of the information of supply chain, retailer supply chain, regardless of using SAP or any other information systems, it should also be the future scenario. So you should have an online order confirmation and a smart recruiting, smart rerouting in case of issues along the route, and a goods receipt in distribution center with RFID, the technology. And then in the warehouse, in the computer, in the transportation process, you can see real-time alerts on the issues such as the cold chain violation and theft or delays, and also the goods receipt in the store with RFID, secure supply chain supported by blockchain transactions. There are fully stocked shelves. Customer can get detailed information on pre-degree and the ingredients, cold chain compliance, and so on. So basically, this also actually can be considered a transformation to really a lean retailing. So that's actually means technology or information system is relevant with lean retailing. So here is a video in YouTube to show you how the technology will change the retailer shopping in the future. So you can actually summarize different technologies. So here we have mentioned RFID and UPC, and if you discover more, so probably digital supply chain and Internet of Things. It's got the things of Internet or Internet of Things. Internet of Things. And artificial intelligence. So many technologies you can think about. So now you can see you can use actually universal product code actually to gain better information about your products. So you have a simple code for your products through the entire supply chain, and you can use that to track your orders and track the sales and track the shelf utilization, all the things. Of course, you need an information system to actually process all this information and the data from the technology. I planned to actually install the SAP in my computer to show you, but in the end I think it doesn't make sense if you do not get a hands experience about the information systems. So in the BSS we have an elective course called Logistics and Business Process in SAP. So if you're interested in information systems, you could actually take this elective course, but probably it's already too late. So here, although we said we needed to talk about retailer information system in this course, based on the course description, but it's really a challenge to mention or to see how an information system look like. So the idea in the end is to invite a guest lecturer to present their application of information systems in the real world. So in next Monday, you will get the guest lecture to talk about the distribution systems in Rema 1000.